I'm Dr. Jay Hitson, and I am the founder of GoodDoctors.Health. What GoodDoctors.Health is for the individuals who are not getting what they need from traditional healthcare. We really look for natural solutions based on your biodata. What is your body asking for? What vitamins, minerals, nutrients, lifestyle habits, what kind of exercise? What is your body asking for on a biodata, biochemical level? The individuals that we work with and we help most consistently are first and foremost the people who they know something's wrong, something is off, but every time they go to their doctor, every time they get their labs run, they get told, well, everything's normal. Well, the reason you're getting told that is because yes, it's normal, but that's not necessarily healthy. And there is a difference. There is a difference between normal and healthy. So one of the big things that we do is we go back through your biodata and we recalibrate it, we color code it so that you can see in our calibration, white, you're in the clear, those are great numbers, but the yellow, see, the yellows are things that your biodata is saying, yeah, it's normal, but you're no longer in ideal ranges. And that's where the recalibration comes in. From there, we're able to get people real answers and understand because you don't have to wait for something to become a disease process to do something about it. And your body's going to give you warning signs way before you actually get into a full blown disease process. And that's what a lot of people are experiencing. They're just experiencing the early warning signs. Now, the other individuals who we work a lot with, we're really set up for is people who are really tired of all the prescriptions. They don't want more prescriptions. They want natural solutions. So one of the things we're able to do is look at the lab work, and this is traditional lab work. This is the same thing all physicians have access to, but we look at it in a very different way. We look at it for not what prescription you need, but what are the natural solutions? What are the foods, the supplements? What are the things that your body is asking for? Because the biodata, your blood work does tell you how you should be eating. It's really fantastic. And it just takes a different interpretation of and understanding how those labs work. So we work with those individuals. We have a lot of individuals who have a really unfortunate family history of different disease processes, different illnesses, and they just don't want that to be their future. Currently, we're working with some gentlemen who their entire family, the men in their family, nobody has made it past the age of 50 because of heart disease. Are they just want to make sure that they're doing everything they can possibly do, not be part of that generational pattern. So we work with a lot of people who don't want to repeat a family history or pattern. We also seen a lot of individuals who are very concerned about dementia. They have seen a pattern of cognitive loss, and they want to make sure that that never happens to them. So that's a lot of individuals. And again, that's where we use the blood work, we use the biodata to see what is the body trying to show you as an individual. Because sure, we could go through all the, here's the typical vitamins, here's the typical things that work great for heart disease, but that's not enough when you have a serious family history. We need to know you as an individual. What is your body needing? A lot of individuals too, they may have a family history, but as I'm aging and people are getting into their 40s, 50s, in 60s, I'm seeing a lot of individuals who are like, I don't want to repeat the patterns of my friends, especially with women and hormones. I have a lot of women who are like, all my friends are having a terrible time with menopause, and I don't want to do this. I don't want to struggle the way that they struggle. So we work with a lot of those individuals even before they have problems, just to prevent it. Because frankly, a lot of us nowadays, we don't have time to be down. We don't have that luxury of, okay, I can just not feel great for a few weeks, few months, some people a few years. We just don't have that. We've got too much to do. And it's important to us to stay energetic and vibrant and sharp. And so those are the things that we're looking for with that particular group. Now, I have a huge group. Now, this group has been getting bigger and bigger. That group is the group that says, I hate doctors. We get it. And I'm running into a huge population who hasn't had any lab work done in a very long time because they hate doctors. Rightfully so. I do really understand where you're coming from. And so that's one of the things that we've done here at Good Doctors is to really transform that experience. I just got off the phone with a gentleman who has not had lab work run in over 8 years. He knew he needed to do something. I mean, you can't bury your head in the sand and hope for the best, especially as we get older. That's just not the way it works. But he didn't know what to do, and so we were really able to go through line by line, empowering him to understand what's going on, so he could make the best decision. I have to say, I think we both and just really enjoyed the process of him understanding why he feels the way he feels and how he can do so much better and do it so easily. And that's what I love. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to consume your life. It can really be simple and easy if you know what you're doing and you're not trial and erroring your way through your health. So we definitely work with that group. Now, the group that I would say I don't work with, not the overwhelming majority of the people that we work with, is the medical mysteries. These are the individuals who there's a lot going on, there's a lot wrong, what it is. A lot of these people have been pretty much out of traditional healthcare. They've been told by all the specialists, they've seen all the people, they've run all the tests, and they just keep getting told there's nothing we can do. And it is heartbreaking when you see how these different health issues have destroyed some people's lives. And, and we've been known to be the patron saints of the last resort. I love whenever they bring us like all the labs, all the data, all of the different information that's been gathered. We can put it together, look at it from a different perspective, and finally, after months, years, sometimes even decades, finally getting them the health, the results that they're looking for. I had a case just recently, a poor woman. They kept blaming everything on her hormones just because she was in that age range with regards to like she's in that hormonal menopausal age. So they kept saying, well, it must be your hormones because they couldn't find anything. They could find nothing in all of her data. The woman was getting so weak. She was getting so incapacitated. She had so little energy. I mean, she was like bedridden. I mean, barely could had enough energy to get up and go to the bathroom. It was devastating. She had young children, and the chronic fatigue was unbelievable. It is so fascinating. As we were going through, we got our initial labs, got some things shifted around. In 6 months, she was back up. She was able to like she had to get a walker and a wheelchair just to get around her house. She gave all that away, and she actually was able to go on a trip with her husband to Hawaii and hike the mountains in Hawaii 6 months later, just working with diet, lifestyle, nutrition. It's really incredible what the human body can do when it gets what it needs. We do heal. So though that is essentially, who we're trying to help. It's those who just are not getting what they need from traditional healthcare. And it's unfortunately becoming a bigger and bigger group just because of how our healthcare system is the direction it's going. And we have incredible, wonderful doctors and nurses out there, but they're just now part of a system that just doesn't let them be the amazing practitioners that they want to be. So how we really do that is we do use comprehensive head to toe lab work, not your annual physical who runs a CBC campaign. That doesn't give them very much information. We run a head to toe, all systems to really find out where is the problem, what is the root cause, not how we're going to cover it up with a medication. I met with the most wonderful woman this morning, and she's like, I'm having all of these issues. Especially, she was talking about how her like moods will just swing like crazy, and she's like, yeah, sure, they want to give me all these medications for it, but what if that's just covering up something that's way more serious that's underlying, and I just know something is, and we found it. We absolutely found it. She had a massive, massive amount of nutritional deficiencies that were happening that were creating this distress signal in her body. So, and I've done that. I've done that so many times, and people feel they come back like 2 weeks later, no medications, just a couple of supplements, and they're like, I feel a million times better. So that's one of the things that we do with the comprehensive lab work. We go through, we run all of these data points, we color code the system so that you can understand and then empower you to understand what is happening in your physiology, because it really is physiology first. I'm about to talk about self sabotage and getting into some of those different factors. The reason I wanted to get into this piece first, before people start going and getting distracted on some of these different tangents, physiology first. If you have a massive anemia, a massive nutritional deficiency, it doesn't matter how much we get into all this other stuff, you're still not going to feel okay. You're still going to feel like something's wrong because something is wrong. Okay, so physiology first, and then we get into these more nuanced points that I'm about to get into here next. And really, just to understand, if you've been having a difficult time getting the answers that you need, you just don't feel the way that you feel like you're supposed to feel. Especially, I see a lot of energy. I just don't have it. Mental clarity. I can't think as sharp. I can't remember things. Um, and just just if not feeling like yourself, that is a fantastic warning sign that you want to be doing, you want to take a deeper dive, because let me just tell you, it's so much easier when you catch these things early versus trying to turn the Titanic around. So with regards to today's topic, okay, I'm on the community of health. This is 90 days of building up a momentum so that as you're coming into the new year, you're coming into the new year with momentum instead of getting, just trying to survive through the holidays, doing all the things that take you in the wrong direction. And then here we are again, repeating the same cycle. And this is especially a season where we are around the people we love so much more. We have, obviously Halloween's coming up, and Thanksgiving and Christmas, and for those of you around the world, as I can see here, those of you from all over, just this is really a season where so many of us are just surrounded by our friends and our family. So it's a really great time to not just focus on your own health, but how as a family unit, as a community, we can do this together. So here's the topic. I want to talk about sabotage. The reason why somebody like me, somebody who's so data driven, somebody who is running labs and blood work, and and a blood work expert is talking about something about sabotage, is because I see this every single day. And here's what happens. Individuals are getting better. They're making progress. We're seeing it on the data points. And then something happens. And this is something that happens so much. I almost am kind of waiting for the shoe to drop. So we get individuals who, okay, they're overweight, they're having all of these health related complications because of their weight. They're making progress, they're doing great, they're exercising, all of that. And then all of a sudden they get sick, and it all falls apart, or they get injured, and now they can't do the things that they were doing. This happens so much. It can't be just a coincidence. And it's not a factor of like, oh, you're just getting older and this is just what happens. No, it is something that I can tell you, it's almost predictive. Certain people will allow themselves to get to a certain point of better. I've heard a lot of different authors talk about how you have like your own natural thermostat. Okay, so like there, you can allow things to get to a certain point of good, but then it's like you trigger that thermostat, and our nervous systems like freak out, and we start to implode. We do this with our health, we do this with our relationships, we do this with finances, we do this with career, we do this in so many different areas. It just depends. But I have seen this, and I've really seen that to be true. I mean, it's even true in my own life. I've absolutely seen where you almost kind of get like this anxious feeling because things are going so good. How weird is that? But it really happens, right? So at the same time, we have the other side of our thermostat. So you know how your thermostat has a hot and cold. So there is, you also have a mechanism where you're only going to let things get to a certain point of bad before, no, 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 that's it. Line in the sand. We are going to do something about this. And you will only let things get to a certain point. I think most of you can recognize that too. Like that in the, not too low, not too high, kind of in this just right. And so what a lot of individuals have to do when they want to experience so much more, when they want to have so much more freedom and love and happiness and joy and energy and fulfillment and just complete and total health in their bodies, what they have to do is they really have to look at their subconscious and recalibrate their settings. And I know that seems it's a really interesting phenomenon, and I have to get it. It takes me quite a few sessions in our bio recode course to get through all of the principles of how you got these programs. Where did this come from? Why do you have these set points? And then deprogramming them, and dialing them back. So for those of you who are really interested in this and would just like to know more, go to the description and you'll see a link in there, and you can fill out to get on our waiting list for our next webinar. We will really dive into all of it, and really show you how this process works. And again, the reason why I've been doing this program so consistently is because I'm one of those doctors who I can't stand. I cannot tolerate when people don't get results. That's fantastic, but I want the whole 100%. And anything that keeps you from getting those absolute, the fullness of your results, that has to get addressed. That is not acceptable to say, well, we tried, better luck next time. No, no. And frankly, that's what's wrong with our healthcare system is physicians just don't have that bandwidth. They don't have that opportunity to do that anymore. Because some of them, so many healthcare facilities now, you don't own your own practice. You're an employee of a system, and so you have to kind of operate the way that they dictate. And frankly, it's a hedge fund that is owning the whole thing. So you just don't have the autonomy the way you used to. 30 years ago, it wasn't like this. But I know in most regions now, most of these health centers have been bought up. So your doctors just don't have this. So you really does come down to those of us practitioners who stayed out of the system, who have the ability to be the way we want to be, not the way we want to be, but to doctor the way we know works. It takes a little bit longer. You don't. It takes more than 5 to 7 minutes, which if you're unaware, in general, most physicians only get 5 to 7 minutes with you because of how the insurance companies and the reimbursement works. It's not that they don't want to spend more time with you; they just can't. And frankly, you can't get into all of this in 5 to 7 minutes. You can barely get through how you're doing today in 5 to 7 minutes. And that was just so frustrating for me. And that's why I really wanted to get out of that system and give the kind of healthcare that I knew, the kind of healthcare that I knew gets results. And frankly, I've been at this for 25 plus years. I mean, I'm going into like 3 decades of this. And let me just tell you, and when you've been doing this kind of work for this long, you see the patterns. You know what gets results. You've been here, done that. I know, but if my hands are tied, if I can't, if I don't, I'm not given the time, if I'm not giving the bandwidth to address it, it's very frustrating for everyone. It's frustrating for you as a patient. It's frustrating for me as a doctor, and nobody's getting better. Nobody's getting better. So um, that's where we're going here. And the last thing I want to say before I get to some of the questions in the chat, which by the way, just go ahead and put anything you want to ask in there. Um, when I get into sabotage, the reason why I'm putting it so much in the community of health is because a lot of these things, these subconscious programs, these self-sabotage patterns, you can't see them. You cannot see your own blind spots. Okay, you can't see them, but everybody else, your family, your friends, they can see it them in you. Let me give you an example. Like, how many of you, you can see, like, every time that friend of yours says she's going on a diet, you're like, okay, here we go again, and you almost know what's going to happen. You know already, but somehow she doesn't. That's a self-sabotage pattern. She doesn't see it because it's part of her own blind spots. All right. So that's where having this community who helps you see the patterns that you aren't seeing anymore. What are those sabotage patterns? And ask, if you ask your family, ask your friends, ask gently, okay? And be prepared that the answers may sting just a little bit. Be careful who you ask, okay? Because I don't necessarily. Some people are more gentle with me than others. So just be careful who you are asking, and again, they really know you and understand you and love you enough to give grace in their responses. The number one thing is, once you have an awareness of this, it's amazing how you don't have to have a 12-step program. Once you're aware of it, it's amazing how quickly some of these things unravel. But if not, please do register for our bio recode webinar. It's free. We're just going to be going into how this all works so you can understand why you keep getting trapped in these patterns and how you break free. I'm halfway through our 12-week bio recode session right now, and we're going to be starting up. We're going to be starting a new series here in this next month. So I'm kind of excited to take it in, and my whole 2.0 version, because we always have to make it better, right? So let me just check the chat. Uh, that is so awesome. So thank you all so much. Um, I love that. Believe in yourself. That is fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, we're talking to people from all over. Yes. Um, so if you're still here with regards to sleep, I do have, if you go to my YouTube channel, there is a video called The Best Sleep of Your Life. It is gets into how I rewired my brain to sleep. I really encourage you just to go on. That's one of the things that I'm going to just share with you, that I used to have horrible, horrible sleep patterns. And about, I don't know, it has to be 15 plus years ago, I did an entire reprogram to have great sleep. And it's amazing. Here I am over a decade like that. Even if I get woken up in the middle of the night, not been the case for the majority of my adult life. So you go to that video, The Best Sleep of Your Life. It should be on my YouTube page. And then, like I said, if you have more questions or whatnot, just please join me in these lives. So I hope this video helps. If you, I'm going to be doing these lives for about the next 90 days. So hit the subscribe, hit the bell so you can know when we're talking. Get on, you can ask your questions, we can engage. This is a new pattern that I am working on because social media has not been part of my typical MO, but it's something I'm really starting to enjoy engaging. And wow, what wonderful people. So thank you all so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day.